Alrighty, I think it's been a minute since I made a video on this channel. But anyways, this is hang on, let's go back. This is the channel, the No Regret Show. Man, I love watching his videos. I know he's gonna probably eventually make a video about me and talk some crap because I day trade, but man, he be spitting facts, man. Like, and I don't promote day trading, man. If to be honest with you, if I could go back into my 20s and I could just decide to be an investor instead of a day trader, I most likely would. But when you double down on it too heavy, there's really no going back. You know what I'm saying? So I do not recommend anybody to day trade if you have the option. I would just say, learn some basics, to manage your own portfolio. But man, day trading or even swing trading is difficult sometimes, man. So, maybe he might not come after me because I'm saying that, but well, I love his channel, man. So anyways, this is No Regrets. They got the cars, clothes, jewelry, and mansions, and all while their subscribers struggle. And I think that it's so crazy because I see these YouTubers that'll have like 1 million or hundreds of thousands of subscribers, and they have no idea. Like even me personally, I have no idea what the hell I'm talking about sometimes, man. Like you like, why should we watch your YouTube channel? Because I'm keeping it 100 and I'm keeping it a buck. Like this stuff is hard. There's so much stuff in finance that I don't understand or that I've just learned from my mentors. Even when it comes to like global macroeconomics and stuff like that, it's like I have a very basic understanding. Like I can't give you the mathematics behind everything on like the formula between calculating inflation and all this stuff. I can see the numbers and I can make an investment decision off of that. But anyways, this is gonna make the video super long. But let's jump into it.
I'll teach you how to do X, Y, Z. Hey, you've never heard me say anything about, hey, buy this course for me where I'm going to teach you how to do X, Y, Z. Y'all have never heard me say that. Go look at all my YouTube videos. You've never heard me say, buy this course and I'm going to teach you X, Y, Z. So
to give some context, that previous guy, I'm not sure if this is the same guy or not, but the previous guy, I think he was like a basketball or football player, and he has a YouTube channel where he talks about finance. But I mean, I haven't really seen any of his videos in like 4 or 5 years, so I don't know what he's doing now. I think I started watching him in 2019 or 2018, and it was just cool to see somebody talking about finance. I guess I had the skin colors me. I'm black, if you didn't know. So but I mean, back then he was talking about pretty basic stuff like buy stocks, buy real estate. He didn't really seem like he was too big on like, he seemed like he was good with debt, but not taking on too much debt. Anyways, let's see.
Check out the digital products. Grab
this is the same
digital products to help you get to your pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. And then you gotta join the paid membership club. We're gonna be doing some fantastic things over there starting in May. Don't miss out. Don't delay. Act today. Join that paid membership club. In today's video, guys, I'm gonna give you 3 stocks that I believe is gonna make millionaires in 2025. I got one stock.
This is kind of just to add some commentary to this. Man, this video is gonna end up being long because I'm talking so much. But man, I will say it's better to not even try and get rich off of one stock. Like and I'll say this: it is possible. But you got to hold that thing for like a decade, maybe 2 decades, 3 decades. You know what I'm saying? Like, do not try and be like, oh man, I'm going to get rich off stocks in the next year or two. Like, it is so difficult unless you're taking on a lot of leverage and you're taking on a lot of risk. I wouldn't recommend it. And I know you see it all online with kids who'll be like 20 years old selling you a course. I'll tell you this too, man. Kids selling a 20-year-old selling a course to me is ridiculous because you haven't even seen like what it is to be in an extremely volatile market. You know what I mean? Or even like you haven't even been through a recession, like a true recession. I know everybody will try and say 2020 was a recession, but that was like a 2-week recession. Or I won't even say it was a 2-week recession, but it was a very, very brief volatile time and very brief, recession. So, but I would just say don't try and get rich off of one stock in like a year or two, unless you're going all in. You're probably doing some leap options deep out of the money, and you really have to have some strong conviction. Man, this is 50 seconds in. It's probably already 4 or 5 minutes.
For you guys that I believe in 2025 is going to print millionaires. Today, guys, I'm going to give you 6 stocks that will make millionaires in 2025.
Oh man, I know I keep stopping, but I'll also say this. Like, I can understand wanting to try and help people with giving them like stock ideas and stuff like that. But it's almost like, you know, like when like a hedge fund manager will go on Bloomberg or CNBC or all these other news channels and they'll talk about their book. I won't even say they're talking about their book. They're pretty much just trying to, you know, entice other investors into their play to one, either provide liquidity or two, to help pump up the price. But man, I'll tell you what, if you really look at it, if you understand the basics of technical analysis and some basic fundamentals and just read a 10K, and just see if the company's profitable, or if you want to be a little bit more speculative and do something that's, you know, pre-revenue, like a startup, or, well, you can't, I won't say you can invest in a startup, but you can invest in unless you're a accredited investor on watching this show. But I mean, anyways, I would just say, if you want to be, not to really look at other people's ideas as solid investment, like as a solid investment thesis, because of the fact that if you ever read the Market Wizards book, even if you have a mentor who trades or invests and they work on Wall Street or at a bank or whatever, you know, you should never really take other people's plays or like investment ideas. And the only reason I say plays is because this guy says, not this guy, but the guy who owns the channel says plays. And it's stuck in my head for some reason. But when you don't want to think about other people's investment, like their ideas or their thesis, because of the fact, I mean, I'm not saying that you can't look at it and decide that, okay, everything meets my criteria, but in my opinion, it's better to look for things yourself if you want to be a serious investor or trader. And then if somebody gives you an idea or you see something, like for instance, like I had a lot of friends tell me about Palantir. I think it was like 2020, 2021. And for me, it didn't make sense at the time because I'm a momentum, you know, trader or investor. And I need a lot of things to align up fundamentally and technical wise for me to decide to pull the trigger. And when, you know, actually, you know, man, we'll go look at it. Forget it. I need a lot of things to line up. And when Palantir first came out, it was decent. But then, you know, you start seeing this downtrend. I'm not looking to buy lows and then for it to just go lower. Like, I like to buy things when they start to have these nice little uptrends. So, and that's why I'll say, like, you'll see people in 2021, 2022 talking about buying Palantir. And I'm not saying that it wasn't a solid investment idea or anything like that, because if you bought it at these lows, that's cool. But how many times have you seen stocks that just keep going lower and lower, and you just wasted capital just sitting in these positions forever? Anyway, oh my god, I end up just talking, rambling. I'm sorry, guys. Oh no, not that one. There we go.
Well, I got 2 stocks for you guys that will be making millionaires in 2025. And those 2...
Got your ass.
Now, it was brought to my attention.
Oh, okay. So this is the dude's channel, man. He gives like some very good, solid advice when it just comes to like investing. I won't even say he trades, but I could say he maybe like does like some, you know, buy and hold situations. I don't think he shorts. I don't really think too many investors are short or like long short or have a long short portfolio or anything like that. But I think he does a lot of bonds. I know he talks about real estate a lot. Pretty cool dude, man. Like I said, I know he's probably going to come for me eventually because, you know, I do day trade. But like I said, man, if I could recommend it to anybody, I would just say don't even get into it, man. Like, day trading is hard. It is stressful. Like, it eventually gets easier, but even when it's easy, it's hard. I know that doesn't make any sense.
Starting to get
whatever.
Upset that I actually been making videos exposing a lot of the secrets. I don't care. That don't bother me. You know, you got people up here saying, oh, I had my cars and I had my house before I started making stock videos. You're absolutely right. And back then, you were talking about selling watches. You were talking about big blue chip dividend stocks. You were talking about index funds and rental property. And then 2020, all of a sudden, everybody's talking about stocks. Here's why. Anybody that gives stock tickers, look at the bottom of their video. The stock ticker that they're talking about, YouTube has AI technology that picks up on that.
I have noticed that in some videos, but now that he's saying it, I was always curious, like, how do they like get that on their videos? I think it's also because I did talk about Palantir in this video. We're going to see if it comes up in the bottom on this video. But, normally I'm talking about like trading currencies or trading futures or trading like SPX, which, it's like, I don't even think you could really buy SPX. I can't even remember, man, but I mostly sell options on SPX or buy SPY and stuff like that. So, I mean, I'm curious if on this video, if stock tickers will come up. So we know Palantir, I've talked about. I don't think I've talked about any other stocks or equities, but we'll see. We'll see.
You talk about the stock tickers, and it shows the stock tickers at the bottom of your video. You get more money for talking about stocks.
Post! All right, so I'm going to tell you what. We about to start talking about stocks. We about to start talking about stocks, man. Have you ever heard of this company called Walmart? Have you heard of a company called Target? Dang, what's another stock? Tesla? Anyways, I know you're probably like, man, this dude is stupid, but I don't know. I find that crazy. I've been watching these YouTube videos for like over a decade. I've been on YouTube since like 2007, 2008, and I didn't even know that. Like I didn't even know that you talk about stocks like you get paid more, and I don't even get paid on these videos, so I'm not monetized or anything. But man, I just start rambling. I'm sorry.
Then guess what? You can pump the Moo Moo and the Weeble and the M1 Finance to people about.
Okay, I'll say this, man. I stick with like legit brokers. I know a lot of people talk about Robinhood, and I'm not even gonna say my brokers are 100% legit. I'll just say that like I like a Wind if I'm trading forex. I use Trade-Evate for futures. I've used NinjaTrader for futures. I've used Tasty. I always get it confused. Tasty Work or Tasty Trade. I think it's Tasty Trade. I use them for option stocks. I never tried to trade futures on them. I used to have TD, but then TD ended up selling to Charles Schwab. But it's like when you talk about like Weeble and Moo, I think he said, or M1. I think somebody told me about M1 recently, and I looked into it, and I'm just like, man, like I'm pretty good with the ones I use. Yeah, I don't know. Like I wouldn't recommend them just because they're still so brand new. And whenever you go into a recession, you kind of figure out like who's going to be able to stay around. And I would rather go with a company that's been able to weather a recession or two. You know what I mean?
About these stocks that you're telling people with clickbaity thumbnails. I just bought 1 million shares of this. This is gonna make you a millionaire. And then the next day, I'm leaving YouTube. And then the next day, I'm selling everything. And then the next day.
Yeah, I'll say this, like, that's why I say, like, having a macro, like, framework will help you out because you're going to see these prices fluctuate. Like, hang on, like, we're going to go back and look at Palantir. You'll see these prices fluctuate like crazy. So let's say that, this was like in February. So then you see February, the price of like, we'll just say 123. Then next thing you know, like a month later, we'll just say the 19th. So the 19th of March, it's all the way down to like 85. And if you've been looking at my channel long enough, you'll know that even through this huge correction, I was trading the NASDAQ, but I was also looking to, buy equities. And I think April 9th is when I posted, or maybe it was April 7th. Yeah, I know it was a Monday, so it must have been April 7th. Was when I was like, this is the perfect time to buy stocks. Now, even if and I'm not trying to give anybody financial advice because, if you lose money, I don't care. You know what I mean? Unless you're like my best friend and, my fiance or, family. Like if you lose money, like I don't care. I lose money every day. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm just saying, like, I'm not trying to give you financial advice, get sued. That's why I'm not doing a course or trying to sell you anything at all. Cause I was like, this is just me sharing, my understanding of finance and trading and investing from my kids and my kids, and my descendants. You know what I'm saying? So it's just me documenting this for them and just talking, shit with my friends. But, I was just thinking that like, man, over the weekend in April, I think it was like April 6th or the 5th. I heard that the tariff things, like Trump was coming to terms with some tariff stuff or whatever, and then it just seemed like a great opportunity to buy. And then I can show you the actual reason, for that idea. If I look at the NASDAQ, man, when I was looking at the NASDAQ, I think it was on a weekly or a monthly chart. Yeah, I had to be on the weekly then. Like in the span of like, we'll just say 4 weeks, 4, 5, 6 weeks, something like that. We went all the way to July of 20 July of 2024 or August of 2024. And I was like, man. And then, like I said, I like to look at levels, like supply and demand, all that type of jazz. It is what it is. We believe in technical comps or not, I don't care. But I was like, man, this just seems like a great place to buy. And one day in another video, I'll go back and actually show you the post I made on Facebook about it. But yeah, like April 7th. And I was on Instagram, and it was on Einstein, Wall Street, or something like that. Like, it was me and one other guy that were like, this is a perfect place to buy. And everybody was giving a shit. Everybody was giving a shit. Because they were just like, no, the market's about to crash, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, shut the fuck. I'm sorry. I'm trying to, my family watches these videos sometimes. So, I'm trying to watch out my language, but I have a lot of respect for my uncles and my father. So, and whoever else is watching this video who has like I guess more conservative values when it comes to language. But I was like, it was just the perfect time to buy. And then I think this was Wednesday, April 9th, when Trump said perfect time to buy or something like that. And I was like, man, that's what you need. You need something to push these markets. But anyways, I will say this. To go back on topic, you need to have some type of macro framework. In my opinion, and I just started really getting heavy in macro like 4 or 5 years ago. You need some type of macro framework. That way you're not getting sucked into all these news announcements telling you, oh, we're about to go into a market crash, the world's about to end, blah, blah, blah. The whole global economy is about to fail. All that BS, man. Because I mean, that's how you get suckered in. And that's why I said I like this guy, man. I know he's gonna give me some flack because I day trade, but I'm saying, man, he's spitting facts. And I really hope that his channel blows up, man. Of course mine as well. Because I'm trying to get paid, but I really like the advice that he gives people, man. And he seems like he talks a little shit, you know what I'm saying? He talks a little shit, but he's giving people really good advice. And, I'll say this also, like that first guy who kind of had the course thing, he seems like a cool dude too, you know what I'm saying? I think somewhere along the line, he may have just gotten a little sidetracked or maybe money hungry or whatever. Because everybody who starts YouTube, man, they might start it with the like good intentions and stuff like that. But I would hope that you guys, if I ever start saying I'm about to start a course or whatever, if I'm starting a course, it's because I made $100 million trading and investing. You know what I'm saying? I just got a decent amount of time before I get there. So, I would just say listen to people who have like the real track record of like 20 to 30 years of trading and investing or market speculating. And then have like, $100 million or, I don't even say anything over $50 million. You know what you're talking about trading and investing wise. And I'm not talking about like, oh, you decided to sell your business for $40 million and you made $10 million off of equities. You know that. Yeah, I'm going to say, you might have had some luck. You might have had a decent like quantitative easing cycle or something like that. But, anyways, let's jump back.
Hey, beware market. People are tired of the clickbait. People are tired of these influencers. You want to know why? People start to catch on. They want to know where their Lamborghinis are. Where's my Ferrari? Where's my mansion on the water? Why am I not retired yet? I've been doing everything you tell me to do. I follow the buy price. I follow your stop loss. Not financial advice. I follow.
See, this is what I'm saying. He's going to come out because I'm not giving nobody financial advice because, like I said, I don't care. I'm not making any money from making these YouTube videos. I'm just talking some shit on YouTube and talking about trading and stuff. So I'm just not trying to get sued, man. Like, I that's the last thing I need. And then if you try to sue me anyways, like, I have no assets in my name, so I'm broke. But anyways, like, Anyway, we'll just jump back in the video.
Follow your exiting strategies. I exit when to get in, when to get out, and I'm still losing money.
Oh, and I'll tell you this as well. It's like, why are you even using a stop loss if you're talking about stop? I won't out, you know, this is going to be so complex. But if you're trading stocks and you really want to have a stop loss, in my opinion, you're just better off buying a put. Just being long, buying puts and holding on to the stock, because you'll make money from the put value increasing. You'll make money from the puts increasing in value if you're buying them, you know, slightly out of the money or out of or even deep out the money. You'll make money on buying the puts if you think the equities are going to drop. But you have so much gap risk with trading stocks. It's like, why would you even have a stop? Your stop is going to go down with the price if the stock. You know, let me go back to this, man, because I see this all the time too, man. It kind of like annoys me. So let's dang, I need something that like really tanked. I mentioned Walmart earlier. Yeah, here we go. So let's say that you were long Walmart right here, and you had a stop. Let's say you had a stop loss right here or something like that, and you bought here, and you didn't exit here, and the market gaps down on you like that. Your stop gaps here. I don't know if this is a bullish or a bearish candle, but it's your stop loss. It's either going to be one of the open. One of these is the open. So, you know, let me turn that off. Okay, so this is a red candle. So the stop. So your stop loss went from being here down to here. So that's what $3 gap, $3 and you know some change. I know I suck at math. Yeah, about a $3 gap. We'll just say $3. So it's like, if you really thought that if you really want to have a stop loss, you're better off buying the equity here and buying a put at the 130, the 101.65. And I see that all the time when I'm looking at these people who will trade like equities on YouTube, and they always get that wrong. They're like, oh, I have a stop loss. I'm like, man, like if you're trading like with a leverage product, like, or you have a decent sized portfolio. I mean, I'm making this video way more complicated than it needs to be. Let's just jump back into it.
And then when we get crushed, you never mention that stock ever again. We never talk about it. We never mention that stock ever again. We move on to the next stock. And then we come back to that stock. And then we say, oh, I made money on it. I alerted everybody. I alerted the family. We got in with the hot play. People are tired of that shit.
Okay, so that's where I said play. You heard him say it, right? You heard him say it.
People are not playing anymore. They can't keep food on the table. They are losing their homes and their cars. They're in debt. There's no more money. They're not playing. Reality has hit people. They're tired of it. Why do you think YouTube started pushing smaller channels out? That they started pushing new faces because they got tired of these people. If you notice, a lot of your big 2020 influencers and your heyday influencers, a lot of them, their credibility is done. Did you ever see Scotty Kilmer switch over to hot day plays? Did you ever see Scotty Kilmer switch over? No, he's still talking about German cars or piece of crap. He's still talking about, you know, don't buy German BMW, Mercedes, and all that stuff because they're money pits. Scotty Kilmer's still rocking his Toyota Matrix. No, he never switched over because I'm sure Scotty Kilmer is set up. Him and his wife got money, and they don't need to sell their souls and start talking about stocks. Did Hoovie's Garage start doing it? Ask yourself that. Did Hoovie? Is Doug DeMuro giving hot plays now? The hot play of the day on what will build generational wealth.
Yeah, and I'll say this, man. Like, at the end of the day, none of us actually know. Like, I know I keep going back, but like, one of the, I think this is it. Yeah, Monster. Oh, dang. What was one of these? Monster. Monster I would never think for Monster Equity to be doing what it's done. Like, if you look at this is crazy. Like, from 2000 being at like what, 40 cents or 4 cents, now all the way up here to $63. It's crazy. Or even another one, I think it's Dang, I can't even think of it, but I know waste management. I can't even think. Yeah, WM. Look at this, man. Like 2000. Where's 2000? Yeah, 2000 being like $16, and now it's trading at 236. Like, who the hell is, like, on Wall Street or anybody on YouTube is gonna be like, man, waste management is the play for generational wealth? Man, nobody. I mean, I'll just say, I'm not saying that nobody invested like heavily and then they called it right, but I'm just saying that people on social media, on YouTube and all this stuff, they're not going to talk about this. They're going to talk about like Bitcoin. You know what I'm saying? And even Bitcoin, man. I remember learning about Bitcoin in 2009. My friend Josh told me and my best friend, or you know, you're gonna say horrible English. My best friend and I about cryptocurrency in 2009, man. But anyways, yeah, let's jump back into it.
No, he's not doing that shit. Seriously. How many influencers switched over? Was talking about relationships, talking about gospel.
Oh, now that he's mentioning it, I have noticed like recently a lot of YouTubers have switched over into politics. And you know, I'm still learning about politics, so you know, my political understanding is very minimal. But you know, I have my values and the thing, you know, who I kind of like lean towards. But and just if you're curious, I'm an independent, so I mean, I'll go either way. Whoever makes the most sense to me is who I'll vote for. But I just noticed that a lot of YouTubers or big YouTubers have switched to talking about politics, and then like for a certain period of time, it was like about like it was like men versus women. It's still like a men versus women thing, so kind of going on, or like. And I think before that, it was a lot of people were doing like commentary or like, I think still people are doing like reaction videos like I do and stuff like that. But I mean, everything kind of has like a cycle, and a lot of people have been talking about politics recently. And I mean, politics is a big topic, but I have noticed that there are like little time periods where people really start to shift over and talk about other things.
Music, talking about selling watches and real estate and big blue chip dividend stock, and then went over to hot plays. Your credibility is done. People are thumb downing your video. They're not recommending you. YouTube has nothing to do with that. You did it. It's called accountability. You blew up your damn channel when you sold out for the quick bag. If you had the money you said you really had, or you have, why did you need to change up? Why? Or maybe you never had any of the stuff you said you had, or maybe it was all a facade. It was all financed, and things got hard in 2020, and you needed to do what you needed to do to keep the lights on. I don't know for a fact, but when 2020 came around, 2021, 2022, you go back to my first videos. It's me racing my cars. It's me at football games. I entered the scene, entered the chat, talking about living debt-free, index funds. I was telling people, yo, don't buy this, don't buy that. I even got some videos saying, don't buy Tesla. Don't buy individual shares of Tesla. Yeah, you would have quadrupled your money. Maybe I got it wrong.
Yeah, so this is kind of like where him and I kind of diverge. You know, I think that buying individual stocks, and I will say this, if you want to put in the time and effort to buying individual stocks, it's more beneficial. But if you're not going to really obsess about, like, let me, I can't even think of the website, and I don't want to open too much up. If you really want to get into, like, depth and understanding, like, equities, man, that's not what I wanted. I was trying to find the, I know it's a .gov. I know it's like some .gov, and it keeps, I don't know why I clicked on the same link. Oh, man. All right, anyways, I'll make a whole nother video about that. But when it comes to buying individual stocks, you're going to make way more money buying individual stocks than you are buying the S&P. And then I will also say that, like, if you're buying the S&P and you have a little bit of an understanding of, like, market regime shifts and stuff, like, you know, that's market regime shifts. Oh, I spelled it. Oh, spelled it wrong. The regime switching or regime shift indicates that this is. Oh no, that's not what I mean. Market regime shift. Finance. Okay, here we go. These shifts aren't just noise or in quantitative finance. They're called regime changes, periods where the market transitions from one state, like low volatility growth, to another, like crisis and high volatility. And that's what I was talking about over here, on the S&P. Like this is a shift. Like everything, like this is a shift. Like when you have these when the volatility, or when you see the VIX, I think I talked about it in my last video. When you see that VIX start to go up crazy, it gets a lot choppier. Like for instance, like the day trading, we're just gonna keep on ticking. When you see the VIX start to rally, like I say, once it starts to get over 20, I mean, you're gonna start to have some volatility, and that's a regime shift. Like volatility means that something is happening in the world to make investors a little bit more weary. And like I said, when you're at these levels, like up here, it's like, why aren't you buying? You know what I mean? Like I'm not trying to say like you shouldn't be buying up here, but when you're buying these equities, and you're taking and you're holding that, you're bag holding, you're holding. You're just letting money slip away from you. So if you're trading and you're actually or investing, and you, even if you're a long-term investor and you have some type of idea that the volatility is increasing, it makes sense to just go cash. Because when you go like for instance, let's say that you're long up here, and then you're just like, you know what, man, if we break this price right here, I'm going cash. You're not taking this huge hit. And like I said, like I think it was April 7th when I was looking. So you're saving yourself, we'll just say that I'm talking about right here. You're saving yourself all this drawdown so that when the time gets here and VIX is at like 60 or whatever, we'll just use 50 as a baseline. If you're at 50 buying equities on the VIX, correlated to the S&P, you have way more cash, so you can buy these equities at a decently cheaper price. And it could keep falling. I'm not trying to say that I'm like gonna call this 100% and I'm some market wizard or anything like that, but I'm just saying that if you have that powder, that extra powder, that so you're not holding all this chop and then you're getting in at these lows, this is how you can really start to see your portfolio do crazy numbers. And that's where I kind of differ off from a lot of like value investors. I won't even say I differ off from value investors, but I differ off from a lot of people who will tell you that you shouldn't trade individual stocks, because like let's just look at Meta did decent. Of course Palantir, like I mentioned, did decent from these lows, and you're gonna make a lot more money. I mean, and like I said, you could be wrong. I could be wrong. This is all speculation. And investing and believing that the U.S. economy is going to do well in the long term. But I mean, something could drastically happen, and the U.S. economy isn't doing as well as it did for the last 200 years, which is why a whole nother video. But Ray Dalio talking about the market regime shifts in world powers. Great book. I mean, he's way further ahead of me in macro understanding and predicting and investing in global markets and all that stuff. So that, like, if I'm making Ray Dalio money, then I would probably sell you a course, and I wouldn't even need it because I'm a billionaire. So like, for me to want to sell you something, I would have to be so greatly knowledgeable to where they were like, why don't you sell a course? And I'm talking about the people like this who are like, selling courses are bad. They're like, man, he should actually start to sell a course. That's how good I would have to be at this, but I'm nowhere near that. It's like, I know a lot, but I don't know that type of a lot.
Wrong, but did I really, when I said buy index funds, Tesla's in index funds?
Oh, and I will say this, I agree with him on that, because of the fact that they're so, like, if you can, I know I keep going back and forth, but if you're buying Palantir, or we'll go to Tesla, because Tesla is the best example, because all the stuff going on with Elon Musk. All the stuff going on with Elon Musk, it doesn't make sense. Like, even in March and February and all this type of stuff, people were burning Teslas, people were doing all types of crazy stuff. Like, that's why I wouldn't even look at Tesla back then. Now I will tell you something that is interesting to me is this whole what is it Space Link, Starlink. Space Link, Starlink is, I think they're about to go public, so that's interesting. But all this other stuff to me is just noise. But yeah, let's jump back in the video because this is getting long.
Tesla could have been the next Mullen. Tesla could have been the next Neo. Tesla could have been the next charge point. We don't know.
Man, I found out about Nio in 2018, 2019, and it was at like $3 a share. Oh man, my man. Yes, I have to go way back. Way back. No, that's not Disney. Dang, I can't even think of it. Oh man. Dang, I can't even think of the ticker. Man, I can't even think of the ticker right now. I'm not about to make this video any longer.
But I said buy it in an index fund. It's about protecting your upside and your downside. It's not about...
Oh, to jump back into Nio real quick, I found out about Nio because they had this futuristic car design, and I was like, I like that. And I found out that their stock price was getting hit so heavy because the CEO, I can't remember, because it was like 2019, but it was like something with fraud and then like it was some type of legal issue. And I was like, man, but if he could get around this legal issue, or even if they decide, like the board decided to get like another CEO, that their futuristic car design to me just made, like, I love futuristic design. And that's why I liked it. And it was only $3 a share. So I was like, man, if it goes to $1.50, you know, I lose 50% of the value. But I was like, man, if he could get around this, decent. And then all of a sudden, 2020, these EV things started going crazy. And I didn't even get near the highs. I sold way before that. But anyways, just jump back.
About how much money you have now. It's how much money you have when you get old and gray and your knees start to crack.
Boy, I just turned 33 and my knee's been cracking for like the last 5-7 years, man. I played football. I wish I didn't play it. So many injuries and stuff. I just wish I would have just been a nerd. Like I am a nerd. I'm just saying, I just wish I would have just did like nerd stuff in school and then play sports.
The credibility is done with a lot of these influencers. I made videos in the past saying I never cared about getting all, like, it was about quality on my channel. It wasn't about quantity. I will put my few subscribers of almost 4,000. I will put my subscribers' portfolios and net worth versus their whole 500,000 they got. I guarantee you a lot of their subscribers got 200, 300, 400 stocks in a portfolio that's getting crushed. I can guarantee you my subscribers got index funds and dividend stocks, and they sitting nice with a smile on their face right now, like, you ain't lying.
Yeah, see, this is because, man, I tell you, man, like I'm a subscriber of his, and like, hey, man, I got like 400 or 500. I'm not gonna say I have like 4. I do have a lot more equities than indices, but I trade indices, and you know, I use like the whole market regime shift stuff we talked about earlier. You know, like I will short stocks. I won't short stocks heavy. I'll say that I won't short stocks heavy, but I mean, I'll go to cash if I think that something's gonna, if the market volatility is starting to like rise up pretty high, like I'll go to cash. And yeah, and then some stocks I'll just hold because, you know, like I've had it since I was like in high school or like in my 20s and stuff like that, and I just got a really good price before I really started to understand macro and stuff like that.
How many people come over from their channels to my channel? Do you know how many people come to my channel and go, yo, thank you so much, I came over from this channel. Thank you so much, I came over from that channel. Thank you so much, my portfolio, I learned more from you in a month. I didn't realize the power was in me. It's not in you, it's not in anybody else. I gotta get my life together. I know my spending habits. I gotta make more money. I gotta spend less. I gotta stop gambling, buying speculative stocks. I was my own worst enemy. You know how many people come to me and say that? Not many, but the few that do, I appreciate you, and you're on the right track.
That's awesome, man. Like usually people like every one of my subscribers come to tell me that. But man, I really like this dude, man. Like he's like no BS. I like that about him, man. But I will say this, like I think there's nothing wrong with having a speculative stocks. You just don't want to be all in on speculative stocks, what I try to see a lot of people do. You know, you gotta, I would say this, if you look at speculative stocks, like you're taking on leverage because these are leveraged, you know, companies, you know, they're like most likely pre-revenue or, even if they do have revenue, they're constantly reinvesting, whatever they can. So they're not like a high PE or, and probably not even P. They'll be like a zero PE, or like they're still trying to figure out their place in their positioning in the marketplace. And I would just say this, like I wouldn't say like you should go all in on these speculative equities. But I'd say like put off like 5%. You know what I mean? And I'm not this, like I said, this is not financial advice. This is just me more so talking to my kids in the future because I don't have any kids right now. You guys aren't born yet. So I would say like don't be afraid to speculate, but don't put so much capital into speculative things or assets to where it would ruin the family. You know what I mean? So like, and when I say that, I mean, I don't want you to put like, you know, because you guys aren't going to have access to my capital anyways. You know, this is going to be in a trust and, you know, we'll have, you know, maybe one of you guys might be able to manage it, but there's going to be a lot of stipulations in the will and trust to where like, I can't have you fuck up. Like, you know, I was a fuck up for a long time. So I know you're going to probably fuck up somewhere along the line. But that's why these videos are being made. But anyways, you don't want to go like even with Bitcoin. When Bitcoin first came out, it was so cheap to where even if you were to put 1% of the family's portfolio in it, you would have still made a ton of money. And I would just say, even if you put 0.25% into speculation or to startups or to, do some type of private equity or venture capital thing where, you know, you're getting, I can't even think of the term right off the top of my head, but you're trying to get that J curve, you know, you're coming in with like a B round or, something like that. I'm sorry, I got so many thoughts in my head, but I would just say that don't be afraid to invest in speculative stocks or equities or ventures, but limit the amount of risk exposure you have to them. Like you don't want to, like I know everybody talks about trying to be wealthy and all this type of stuff, but you know, you want to preserve wealth. Like sometimes it's better to make a little bit of money than to make generational wealth, in my opinion. Because the next generation has the opportunity and the power to keep the legacy moving forward. And you know, I would say this, like try and think for the next generation and 10 generations from yourself. So like even if you're watching this video and I'm like some type of hologram 500 years from now, you still want to think about the next 500 years or the next 1,000 years for the family to continue to build wealth, regardless of you know, we'll kind of go into detail on like having capital in different locations and in different bank accounts, and in my case different countries, but then in your case maybe different planets or different galaxies. That'd be pretty cool. But anyways, you always want to have dispersed capital into different regions of the world and all this. Anyways, kind of going way off topic, like, but I would just say this: don't be afraid to speculate and to invest a small portion of capital into speculative assets. Don't be afraid, but don't go all in on anything that's speculative, because it could always go wrong. And as an investor or a trader, if you're investing in somebody else's idea and you don't have 100% control of it, anything could happen. They could be a bad person. They could try and launder money. They could do all these weird, crazy scams and things, and you have no control over that. So to limit that overall risk exposure, you need to be cautious, because it could happen even with a solid company like let's see, like let's just say Walmart gets a new CEO and the CEO just happens to be a bad guy. And you know, anyways, let's just jump into the video because this is getting way too long.
I'll put my subscribers against any one of their subscribers. I want to see their portfolios. I can guarantee, I know what they got in their portfolio. They got VOO, VUG, VTI, and then they got another.
And I'll say this as well, like I'm not really too informed on like these index funds and stuff like that. For me, I would just buy the S&P or SPY or something like that, and then just have it as a running position. I've never really looked at indexes, or index funds, or they or mutual funds or anything like that. Like, I know a little bit about them, but I don't know like VOO or VX and all this other type of stuff. Which is why I also say like I'm very limited in my understanding of finance, and even though I do know a lot, there's still a lot that I don't know or have any idea about. Um, and I don't know. And to be honest with you, like I'm kind of at that age to where like it almost doesn't even seem like it's beneficial for me to learn some things, which is definitely a negative character like flaw or trait that I have. But I'm kind of getting old, and I know you're saying like, hey, grandpa, like 33 isn't old, but I mean like I put so much time into this stuff, man, and I know a decent amount to where it's just I just don't think it would be beneficial for me. Now, if I will say this, like if you're just a normal investor or trader and you're not putting in like hours and hours of research into like what you want to think about investing in or trading in and stuff like that, then maybe the index funds or mutual funds and stuff like that'll make sense. But I just personally don't know about it.
S&P 500. They got 3 or 4 S&P 500 funds that do the same thing. They got SCHD, and then they got a.
I'll say this, like, and this is another thing. Like, I trade S&Ps, like futures and options wise, but when it actually comes down to like long-term investing wise, I don't have anything S&P. Well, I can't say I don't have anything S&P, but everything's mostly like Dow and Nasdaq, and mostly Nasdaq. Like I'm really bullish like tech and crypto, and I won't even say crypto as a whole. Like I'll just say like the main players in crypto. Um, yeah, like I'm not, like I'm pretty sure I have some like S&P stocks, of course, because it's S&P 500. I'm pretty sure I have some stocks that are correlated to S&P, but it's mostly the most things I'm more focused on are like either in the Dow or the Nasdaq, mostly.
A bunch of crypto miners. Then they got MicroStrategy, Palantir, O'Reilly, all real of a real estate companies like O'Reilly and a regular brokerage account when they're paying regular income tax on that. I can guarantee you, I know what their portfolios look like. They're all
Yeah. I mean, like that's pretty much all of us. You know what I'm saying? Like I would say that as like I looked at but it's not really for me. I'm interested in real estate, but it's just not really my thing. Like look at this. Like what the fuck? You know what I'm saying? Like I mean like, and then the thing is like when you're looking at most things that have dividends, they're always gonna be pretty much like this. Oh, sorry about that. It always gonna pretty much always be like this for the most part. And I'm not saying always, like it's always gonna be like this if it's different. I just mean like it's a lot of chop and just sideways movement. And oh man, I think like looking at this now, I have a good idea for a video with the market, like the real estate cycle. But yeah, we'll get
all
to
over the
that.
damn place. It's a mess. You look in the past, they got AMC, GME.
But then I also say this, like I'm an active investor or trader. Like if you're not putting in hours and hours of research into like ideas, or you're just like, I only need like 10 solid ideas and I'm just gonna invest 10% of my capital into each like really solid idea, it makes sense to just buy the index, or these index funds, or just buy S&P or Nasdaq or Dow. Like I would not advise you, unless you're putting a decent amount of time and effort into research, that you should go into speculative equities or even just individual equities. Because it does take a lot of time and research. I mean, you really need to know as much as possible. You need to know who the CEO is. You need to know who the executives are. And I'm not saying that I can name every CEO and executive off the top of my head, but you need to know, like, okay, like, does this seem like a decent person? Like, you watch a couple of interviews with them on YouTube or Bloomberg or whatever. Kind of look at their track record. In another video, I'll kind of go into an app I use that gives a lot of this information, in the 10K and all that jazz as well. But I would just say, like, if you're not gonna put in a decent amount of time and effort, or know somebody who's in finance, or like, for instance, like I've helped my fiance with her portfolio, and I know her risk tolerance. Like it's not like I'm putting her in anything at all speculative. like at all. Like her stuff is like dividends, like could appreciate in values. Not like but it's like I think I did some Kroger, some Coca-Cola. I can't think of any of the other ones just off the top of my head. But just things that are like, we're gonna look at it because we're gonna see if this video ends up getting like Kroger and all these other companies. So yeah, like you see Kroger. I think I got her in the Kroger in like 2020. Actually, 2020 or 2021, and you see the value has gone up steadily over time. And she's getting that dividend. I was looking at Coca-Cola for. It was like 2020, 2021, but you see, it's like things that have the potential to continue to appreciate in value, but then also get the dividend. That whole old reality, I'm not really a big fan. I'm not saying that it's horrible. I'm just not the fan because it's like if I got her into this in 2020, 2021, she'd probably be break even. She would have the dividends, of course, but I'm just not really looking at stuff like that. And I'll just say, if you're not putting in a lot of effort and time into it, I would just say do the index. Don't try and trade
all the
invest in individual
stocks.
All
these people say are going to make you a millionaire. Buy into it, hold it, and then they sell out. They never showed you a entry point. They never showed you the.
Oh yeah, and let me also say this. Like I'll also say, nobody cares about your capital or their family's capital more than you and myself. You know what I mean? Like people within who have like some type of attachment to the capital. People always try and sell you. People try and scam you. People will try and say, "Oh, I need it because of X, Y, and Z," or you should donate your money. Man, I'm about to say something that's controversial. Man, fuck that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, fuck that donation, dog. Like, I'm not saying you can't donate to charity, but I'm just saying like that's one of the things I'm like, man, yo, when you start to really looking at charities, you be like, man, a lot of this bullshit. A lot of it's bull. Like if you want to start a charitable foundation for the family, you're gonna do things the right way because we will vet that shit. I'm telling you, we will. Like whoever is in charge of the family office, we will vet that. Like we not about to let you launder money from the family. Like no sir, no ma'am. You know what I'm saying? Like, anyway, it's like I'm just saying this. People are always gonna come up with some sob story on like I can't feed my kids and all this stuff. And I'll say this, man, if it's really put on your heart to help them a little bit. But when then people start trying to come to you like, oh, I need $5 or $10 grand for this, or I need $100 for this, or they constantly ask you for $100, man, you got to tell that person, like, hey, yo, chill. I don't know how much $100 is worth in your time period because right now $100 it's not what it used to be when I was a kid. So I'm pretty sure if you're like 2 or 3 generations from me, $100 to you might be like $1. But I will say this, like, People don't care about the money the way that we care about our money. And that goes for anybody, for any family or dynasty or individual in this world. Like nobody cares about your money more than you. People trying to sell you shit all the time and people trying to get your money all the time. That's going to be a constant regardless of what time period we're in. Unless we go into some kind of complete utopian society where money is not a thing. It's definitely going to be some type of form of power because there always has to be somebody that has the final say. And my thing is this, to put the family in the best position to be that person in power. That way we're not being taken advantage of and we have the options eventually in the long term to do something positive in the world. But I'll tell you this, man, when it comes to charity, you need to really vet that shit. You really need to vet that shit because so much money is laundered in charity. So much money goes to things that are horrible for the environment and humanity as a whole, just laundered through charity. And now if it's an individual person that you have a connection with, if it's your money, I don't care. I mean, if it's the family's money, that's a no-go.
Themselves that they're still holding it or that they bought it. They never showed a 1099. They show a sketchy buy order on their phone. Hold on, man. But people are tired of it.
And I'm gonna tell you this too, man. Like, in my opinion, I can see where he's coming from, but in my opinion, it's like, it's almost better not to even tell anybody what you're trading and investing in. You know what I mean? Unless it's like your friends or, we're just talking shit on YouTube or Facebook and stuff like that. But it's like, in my opinion, when you're telling people the equities you're investing in, and if they look at you as like somebody who understands finance or understands markets and stuff like that, they're most likely going to buy it and they're going to buy it heavy. Like I remember when I first got into like investing, like I had a friend, we talk about it all the time. I'm telling you, man, I listen to you. So I listened to him one and I went heavy in the position. And this is kind of like something everybody has to learn somewhere along the line, but it's like, you don't want to listen to people when they're talking about finance for the most part. Like, unless you're your financial advisor and they're trying to help you, but man, those motherfuckers don't know shit either. You know what I'm saying? Like, there are people I know who are financial advisors who are telling their clients to sell at the low in April, and I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? And I won't say that. I'm not saying that. Let me retrace that statement. They were advising their clients that things were going to be okay, but personally, they didn't know. Is the best way to put it. And for some people who are financial advisors, we're advising people to either hold out or to get out. And I need to make that very clear, because I'm not saying all the people I know that financial advisors are saying that. But I do know of one that did say that. And I was like, what are you talking? Like, anyways. I think and I'll say this, the reason why they said that is because they are very liberal, and they in my opinion, they said that from a political standpoint rather than a financial standpoint. And their opinion was based more so off of Trump is bad and the economy is about to crash. And that's why I will also say this, when it comes to finance, your political party doesn't matter. Like, if it's a Democrat in office, a Republican in office, there's a way to make money and there's a way to lose money. And it's the same way every single time. Don't let your political values or your views reflect in your investment ideas or anything of that nature. Because at the end of the day, everybody wants to make money. Everybody's trying to plan for retirement. And I just think that is very, very stupid when people say, because I'm Republican and there's a Democrat in office, this crash is about to be the biggest crash ever. And vice versa. Oh, there's a Republican in office and they're a Democrat and this is going to be the biggest crash ever. Do not make that mistake. That shit pisses me off. That really annoys me. And I have my political views, of course, but it's like, man, I don't care about who's the fuck's in office. Let me calm down. I don't care who's in office. I don't. Like, there's a way to make money regardless of who's in office, unless they put, like, if they start to nuke the world, we're gonna sell the S&P like we're gonna be rich when we die. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're gonna buy deep out of the money puts, and as the world collapses, we're gonna make a ton of money on the way down as we die. Like, that's what I'm trying to say. It's like, I mean, if it hits the fan, it hits the fan. But if we survive and we come out of it, that money doesn't even matter at that point. But what I'm saying is, don't let whoever is in office or whoever is the political parties in office in whatever country you live in, don't let that affect your investment decisions. Like, if you see opportunity, take it. Like, I remember when Russia was getting sanctioned or whatever, man, I was like, man, I wish I knew how to buy Russian assets, because the value of the things that's going on in the economy aren't going to change. And I was exactly right. I didn't really look into it. I'm pretty sure if I really looked into it, I could have figured it out. But I mean, like, the fact that they had Starbucks out there, a Russian, or maybe it was a Russian investment group or something, bought Starbucks, all the Starbucks locations for like $10 million. And now you're talking about, man, I don't know what the revenue was of Starbucks before the whole sanction thing, but it's pretty much probably the same thing. And they bought at depressed prices, at heavily discounted prices. Anyways, I'm just saying this. Don't let who is in office or who's in power in the country you live in dictate your investment thesis or your philosophy or your decisions.
Or broke. When you shut the camera off, that's when the real world begins. When you shut the camera off and you go back to your life, whatever your life is, that's the real world. People can say what they want in videos in the comment section. Okay. They got it and I got it. The main thing is they went in about their way, selling the dream, and they bought it. I did it the hard way and I got it. The difference is I still got my credibility and I still got my word. The thing is, I want you guys to have it. Me having it and them having it means absolutely nothing. I want you to have it. I want you to know that feeling of being able to go out on a random night and spend $200 on dinner. Go out, get some king crab legs, go out for dinner, take off 3 days after that, and then while you're off, book a vacation for 2 weeks and go, you know what?
Yeah, and this is also a reason why I like this dude, man. Like, I see a lot of people like flaunting like Lamborghinis, Ferraris, or they made $20,000 today. I'm gonna be honest with you. Now, this is gonna sound so like crazy because I'm not even at this level yet, but it's like, man, there are people making $10, $20 million a day. And I'll tell you this, it was this one dude in 2020, man. I saw him make 50, I think it was like 54, $57 million in a week. Like, guaranteed. Like, I don't know if, I haven't kept up with him to know, like, what his investments are now. Or I'm pretty sure he kept the majority of that money. But, I mean, this dude made $57 million in a week, like, shorting crypto. Like, heavy. You know, I know a lot of people talk bad about like shorting crypto or they don't see the vision and all that stuff, but he also buys crypto. But sometimes you just see that opportunity and you really take advantage and leverage in on that position. But like I'm saying, like when you see people talking about making 20 grand a day or 2 grand a day and all this type of stuff, man, that's why I'll never show y'all what I'm making a day. Cause it's like, somebody's gonna be like, that's a lot of money. But when you know people that really, really make money, they're gonna be like, man, what? Like, it's people that you can tell somebody like I have $500,000 in cash. They're like, oh man, you're poor. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's really people out here that like have stupid money. Like you could even have $10 million in their view, you're poor. You're like barely like treading water. Like, for instance, it was a guy, a hedge fund manager, in this TV show. I think he had like maybe $60 million. And I think in 2 or 3 years, he was going to be broke. Crazy to even think about. But it's really people out here that have like, are making a decent amount of, I mean, I don't even say decent, I mean an extreme amount of money. So it's like me telling you that I made like a 2 grand or 20 grand, you know, in their eyes, you're poor. You know, you know what I'm saying? But then in a lot of eyes to a lot of people in the world, you're extremely wealthy and rich. And I think it's just interesting when you know what, that's going to be the next video. I think there was a video where it kind of talks about the different levels of money.
I don't want to go back to work. That's financial freedom.
Oh yeah, but like we were saying, yeah. I mean, when you see all these people talking about like Lamborghinis and stuff like that, in my opinion, like you saying, man, when you can afford the dinner that you want to eat, like when you can try a new restaurant, and I'll tell you this, man, like I remember one time, man, I went to a restaurant and there was some food I really wanted. I think I was like maybe right out of high school or maybe I was in high school. I don't remember, but it was some food I really wanted. And it was like $150. $150. And I was like, man, like I can't even eat that because it's like I couldn't afford $150. Oh, I you know what? To be honest with you, I think I could have gotten it, but it would have been like almost, it would have been a decent chunk of the money I had. I think that's probably what it was. But it's like, when you think about it, man, if you could go out to eat, try a new restaurant, or, you know, take a vacation whenever you want, or just live life to where you're not obligated to live by somebody else's rules and be dictated. You know what I mean? Like, I know that kind of sounds very entrepreneurial, because you know a lot of people online who are entrepreneurs will talk about like bad about having a job and stuff. And I'm not saying having a job is good or bad, but I just mean like when you have the freedom to say fuck you, and I mean really say it from the bottom of your heart, you know what I mean? Like, just really get it out, man, fuck you. And you just look them in the eyes, in the eye sockets, and you're just like, fuck you, man. Fuck you. And then that's a good feeling. That's a good feeling. And I think that's where it's more so the beneficial, instead of saying like, oh yeah, I got a Lamborghini. Man, you know how many motherfuckers like finance that Lamborghini? You know how many people like probably finance that Lamborghini and then crash it like a week or two later? Stupid. Or how many people, like, if you think about it, how many people bought a Lamborghini just because they started to make money and they should have invested it? You know, I remember it was one of my mentors. He was like, I didn't buy my first Rolls Royce until it made sense for me to buy my first Rolls Royce. And then to put that in perspective, he drove like an Escalade, or I don't even think it was Escalade. It was like one of those big SUV cars. But it was like, he said he drove that until, I think he said in 1 year he made $1.7 million. And he had to pay like $900,000 of that in taxes. And that's when he decided to get a tax attorney. And he was like, the tax attorney was like, you need to start spending money. And that's when he bought the Rolls Royce. And then even then, he found a way, like he did something where you could get a dealership license and buy a small parking lot, and then you can just go buy these cars wholesale. And then, you know, he drives them around for a few months and he'll sell them if anybody's ever interested. But he mostly just drives them around for his own personal enjoyment, and then he sells them. But that's what I'm talking about. That's smart investing. That is very like strategic investing and getting to be able to have the luxuries in life that you want. But they're not just doing it to just flex on Instagram or social media and all this stupid stuff I see, man. Like you could rent a Lamborghini for like a grand or two a day and still enjoy it. Still enjoy the engine and the driving fast and all that type of stuff. But man, some of these people either buy it, or maybe they buy it, or they lease it for the day or whatever, and they just want to flex and say, oh yeah, I made all this money. But it's like, man, you look like a fucking retard in my opinion. Ah, man, I'm sorry. When you really know people who have like serious money, they drive like beat up Jeeps, like they might have a BMW. Anyways, stupid.
I want you to put so much money away now where you can stop investing so heavily, enjoy Coast Fire. You let compound interest do its thing and you blow the rest of your money.
Okay, see, this is where something I don't agree. I do not agree with FIRE. I do not agree with FIRE. Like financial independence, retire early. I do not agree with that shit. There's too many unknowns that in my opinion, for FIRE to actually work and be like 100%, you need like 5 or 10 mil in my opinion. And this is in 2025. Like and the reason I say that is because you have time periods where inflation is going to increase so heavily to where you can't even predict how much capital you would need to maintain your basic lifestyle. So let's say that you did FIRE. This is going to be a whole nother video. I don't agree with FIRE. And I might have to make another video about that and the reasons why I don't agree with FIRE. But you need a decent amount of capital because there's so much unknowns that could happen. Like, let's say I retired at 33 and I end up living till I'm 90. There's so much inflation that's going to happen over the time of 70, like 60, 70 years. And I can't plan for it. Like I said, I want to have, a decent amount of capital. Like I'm trying to plan, 5 to 10 generations ahead of time. So it's like, I can't retire. You know what I'm saying? Like if, I know for some people that's a viable option, but in my opinion, if you know how to make money, you should just take advantage of it as long as you can. And to always have some type of hunger, because I just don't agree with FIRE. It's just too much unknowns that could happen. Let's just say you're doing FIRE, you buy some land, and then all of a sudden the government says we're taking your land. I've seen it happen, and like it is horrible. And then you're putting yourself in a situation of being powerless. And you always want to come from a place of power. You never want to have a situation where somebody has something over you and you are powerless to do anything about it.
But some people, and the majority, will never know what that is like to enjoy, because they don't put the work in themselves. They pay somebody else to tell them what to do, wrong information, and they don't do anything. Here's some free advice. The power's in you. I can't make you do it. I don't know your spending habit. I don't know how much money you make. I don't know.
We're gonna watch the rest of this all the way through because this video is getting way too long. But if you want to have
money in your pocket and you eventually want to have this generational wealth, the dream that was sold in 2020, you got to figure out a budget. Whatever you're spending your money on that you don't need, get rid of it and put that money to your credit cards. I'm serious. Pay off them credit cards. Build your damn credit yourself. Because if you don't, you're going to be joining somebody's CPN class and then end up in prison. Pay off your debt. Your Social Security has debt, pay it off. That's how you build your Social Security and your credit back. Then if you want to get into real estate, go to the house, call the number. There's a realtor on the damn sign. Call it. Make them an offer. Go to the bank, get a loan, have some money to renovate that house, get some renters in there. You want to get these paper assets, free cash flow, buy dividend companies that have been around a long time. Chances are the companies are in your bathroom. If you're brushing your teeth and you're washing yourself, look at the company that has the trademark, the R next to it. It most likely has a stock ticker. Go in your pantry, in your fridge. Index funds should be the backbone.
See, and this is also the last part of the video. But like I said, when it comes to those type of companies, you're usually going to be in the Dow. sometimes in S&P, but usually like consumer goods and stuff like that, they're usually in the Dow. And then when it comes to like Nasdaq and all that stuff, it's mostly tech.
Of everything. No.
Oh, and I say that because earlier in the video I mentioned that I'm mostly just looking at the Dow and the Nasdaq, and the S&P is kind of like a balance between the two. So like I would rather get the extremes of both of those rather than just have the I guess like average of both. So yeah, that's why I mentioned that. But let's see what he said.
You could take my word, or you could just keep doing what you've been doing. No regrets. Get it.
Yeah, man, I like this dude. So, oh dang, I'm gonna do that. I really like this guy's videos, man. Like I said, I know you about to come at me, because I trade and I had some things that I disagreed with him on, but like it is what it is, man. I don't even know his real name. I can't even. I think I heard it one time, but anyways, man, really cool dude, man. I love his videos. I'm pretty much watch almost every single one. But yeah, man, like I hope you guys got some value from this video. I know it's a way longer video than I was even expecting. Like this was like a 12-minute video. I was like, man, it'll probably be like 20 minutes, but. As you know, I kind of rant and go way off topic a lot of times. And, like I said, this is just me having conversations for when I pass on, for my kids, my grandkids, my beautiful wife, and all my family and friends. I love you all. And if you watch the video to the end, I do appreciate you, man. Like, for real. Like, I know this is a long video, so hopefully you got some value from it. Anyways, peace out.
Man, even Jesus had a shooter. And God be having unbelievers that didn't mess up their demeanor. And yes, they know it's hard, they know, cause when they be up in those trenches, man, they show, but what they do